Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Insights from a Headhunter. Today, we are going to talk about diversity, inclusion, and belonging. And we have this wonderful opportunity. Me, Tiina Jarvet, I'm based in Brussels, and Moumita Das Roy is based in Auckland, in New Zealand. So it's 8 p.m. here and 8 a.m. So good morning, Mumita.
Good morning, Tina, and to everyone who is joining in. It is morning indeed. It is a very cloudy morning of Wednesday, November 30th in Auckland.
Wow. So for people who don't know Mumita, she is a marketeer who has worked in different industries, in international companies like the Walt Disney Company, BBDO in India, in New Zealand, in different countries. And she is also diversity and inclusion advocate. And she's somebody who loves traveling and has been to all of the different continents. So, welcome, Mumita.
Thank you so much, Tina. I'm so glad to be here. And that's such a splendid introduction that I heard of myself. I can use it completely as my 30-second pitch. So thank you. And
I,
straight from a headhunter.
so we have had conversations about diversity and inclusion and belonging over the past 2 years on different platforms, and I'm so glad to have you here with us. So please tell us about the hashtag and why you started with the LinkedIn Karma with Wandering Mo.
Um, okay, so LinkedIn Karma started actually last year when I was just starting out on LinkedIn, and I was thinking, I was very new to LinkedIn. I have had my profile on LinkedIn for very long, but I was myself interacting, commenting, and writing a post for the very first times. So I saw this platform is a platform where people are giving, of giving nature. They're very generous with their knowledge, with their time. I identified Kevin D. Turner. I saw Jeff Young. These people were so, they're giving off their information. And I started this series called LinkedIn Karma. Karma is what you give comes back to you, right? So I saw their posts and I shared their posts. And that's how LinkedIn Karma started. And gradually, when I started creating content, I stood out with Wondering More as my personal hashtag. So when I had the opportunity to create audio events as a beta tester on LinkedIn audio events, I brought them together. So it is like LinkedIn Karma. What goes around comes around with me, that is Wondering More. So that's how it started.
Mm. And tell us about your journey, because not everyone knows your journey, but I think it's so interesting. So um, living in a in your home country, working in a corporate environment, having a great job title, dealing with product management, brand management, and digital marketing, and then moving to a new country. Uh, tell us about that experience.
So it started with a personal loss, and then I quit my job in India. I went traveling. Uh, this time, when I was traveling for nearly a year, and I was all over South America and some countries of Central America. I went down to Antarctica, so that was like one whole travel gap year for me.
Antarctica, you said Antarctica.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So I did get an opportunity to go there. I did have this time when I could wait for a small boat, research boat, which would take me from Argentina, Ushuaia.
Yeah.
So I did manage to go there for a 12-day trip. It was splendid. And then There were already plans for me to come to New Zealand. I came over. I got back into corporate life once again. And initially, when I'd come, I thought that it would be reasonably easy for me to get a job because, like I said, I had these big brands on my CV.
Yes.
I did come with a lot of expectations, but I did not realize that in a new country, no one knows you, you're not entitled. And it almost is like going back to scratch and having to start back once again. And also, when you are in a particular geography for reasonably long time and then you've established your career, you often get headhunted. You don't have to
Yes.
apply. And that was what was happening in my earlier career in India. But here, having to kind of customize every CV to a job, writing a cover letter because of not many countries actually still encourage you write a cover letter, which we do here in New Zealand. So getting accustomed with all of that was kind of recalibrating my expectations. Yeah, that I could go on and on about it, Tina. It's been a splendid journey going back from scratch, back from zero.
Yeah. And you have shared your experience, and that has been really, really helpful, because I often see that when people move to a new country, like you said, there are different traditions, how the CV or resume looks like, also if you have cover letter or not, but also the lack of network. Even people, Swedish people who come back from the US to Sweden, they kind of lose their own network, and they are not automatically picked for the positions that they are qualified for, because they don't have the um, uh, general management experience from Sweden. Yes, from the US, but not from Sweden, for example.
Yes. And this is something I quite often write about on LinkedIn of having no local experience, of having no QE experience. And that is often what recruiters choose to say. And
Mm,
what I have heard of these things many times. I'll give you one or two examples. Like one of the recruiters told me very early on, um, look, so I was working in a small telecom company in New Zealand before my current job. So somebody told me that, look, all the great things that you've done, all the great brands that you have on your CV is not in this country. And working for a small telecom company for about 2 years will probably not get you a job in a big brand in New Zealand. So, these are the things that I wanted to challenge.
yes.
And that's why I started writing about it so openly.
Yeah. So what would be your advice? Because I would say any experience, even volunteering,
Oh,
it's a
absolutely.
step closer to your dream.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for anybody who's trying to start out in a new country, I'll have a few tips. What These are not tips. These are my experiences that I'm
Yeah.
happy to share, and I think that's helped me considerably. Is, like you say, volunteering. I took up volunteering very seriously when I
Yes.
came in, and I realized, we often talk about volunteering as how we are contributing, we are paying forward, but we often don't say what we get back, what we receive,
Mm,
because volunteering definitely is like a two-way process. I have got back so much more from volunteering than by giving my time generously. Volunteering helps you identify your network. It gave me my first referee in the country. So that is one thing that is of a big concern for any newcomer. Who is going to be the referee for me when I finally get my job, when I finally, the brink of
exactly.
getting that offer letter, but who's going to talk for me? So
Yeah.
volunteering plays a big role there. You identify your referees from there. The other one that
Very,
I've talked.
very, very good point. Because I always take references from your previous employers, and if it's somebody in the current location, that's
Absolutely.
priceless. So
Yeah.
that's
So that was one. The
yeah,
other thing that I wanted to talk about is of transferable skills. We often don't know how to uh, recraft and
yeah.
represent our transferable skills. So I'll give you this example of a friend of mine uh, from India once again, and she used to manage a call center of
Mm-hmm.
about 200 people in India.
Mm,
And when she moved, because her partner moved, and she was an independent visa, she moved to New Zealand. It was so challenging for her to find a job. So what she did was, in her field, find a job in her field. So what she did was, she had this customer care, customer support, customer management experiences, right? And then she studied about chatbots, about writing customer interactions or
mm,
creating a conversation architecture, because she was translating her like telephone experience, her on call experience, into chatbot conversation writing. So she
yeah,
transferred that skill to, more like creating chatbot conversations. She continued to be in her field, in her industry, but
with
see
her
how she
knowledge.
kind of, she brought the best of what she knew, and she translated in what she could deliver in a new country. So that was amazing.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
And also meetups, I think, too. Just, I'm kind of an introverted, shy person, but then
Me too.
it's so difficult for us, right, to just go out and meet people. And as adults, it's so difficult to make friends as well. But then you got to do what you got to do. You go out. The other thing I realized very soon enough was, no one will give you a job when you're asking for one if they don't know you.
Yeah.
But they will help you with their industry knowledge. So if you ask them out for coffee and tell them that, look, I'm new to the country, can you please take me through your journey, through your experiences? And people are willing to help there. People would give you their time. So those three things. Let's go with those three things for the moment.
Yeah, and I think, like you mentioned, especially for introverts, it's difficult to reach out, but you would be surprised how many people would say yes. And you always learn in every interaction, even if you're giving information, you learn something new. So it's a two-way street, and people are kinder and more generous than we ever give them credit for.
Yeah, yeah, true, absolutely. And I've had splendid experiences. And yesterday I was at a meetup
Hmm.
with some people, like all of these people who I've met on LinkedIn, and now I was meeting them in real life, and they are exactly who they look like on LinkedIn. So it was brilliant interaction yesterday. So it just takes that one step, one courageous step to go out and ask for help.
Yeah, and I think also the conversations that you have had about um, belonging on LinkedIn are so interesting, even if they are on the other side of the world. And I tune in very early my time, because every conversation um, there are so many different aspects of diversity. So and you have also had people from uh, politicians and people who have the experience. So it's not only talking about it in theory, but really in people who have lived it and felt it on their own skin. So tell me more about those conversations, what you have learned.
You know what? I'm really grateful for people who I've reached out to, like you said, politicians, ministers of the crown,
Yes.
and they have said yes. And that's only happened, I think, because I was sharing my lived experiences very
Mm,
openly. When I moved to New Zealand, like I said, I started creating content on LinkedIn. I did not do that before that. And I just wanted to do it to create acceptance, create familiarity for me, you know. I was this different looking girl with a different accent, not the local accent. Um, and I would initially feel shy.
Mm.
Uh, I would even feel shy to go on video because then I would, people would know that I don't speak the local accent. But then what I realized is I have to embrace this difference and completely own it. When I started doing that, I felt acknowledged, I felt validated. And, you know, my courage, my voice started getting louder. And then I really felt that when I have this platform uh, of creating audio events, or generally even LinkedIn, my community, I think I should also talk about other minority communities. So I started talking with my lived experiences, with my friends' experiences. I thought I should start talking about them as well. And then I reached out to people who were experts in these fields because I always
Yeah.
believe that I don't know everything, right? I'm I have lived experiences of racial inequality, but I may not know what a disabled person may be feeling, a person from rainbow community may be feeling or want us to do. So I reached out to them just to learn because I always believe a great place to start is to ask. And Tina, you shared a wonderful quote today. I would just want you to share it once again for everyone who's listening.
Yeah, one of the people whom I love to listen to talk about diversity, inclusion, and belonging is Brené Brown, and she always brings examples of it's important. It's not important to be right, but to get it right. So if you even make a mistake, you ask a question that was not correct, the person will correct you, and instead of feeling ashamed and never enter into conversation, you really feel closer because next time you will get it right. So it's it's really my motto in life as well, to not to be right but to get it right.
Absolutely, that was so brilliant. So for me, I like to ask if I don't know,
Yeah.
and then I would go to, you know, acknowledge if I've heard someone. If I
Yeah.
did not know any better, I would, if they correct me, I would acknowledge it absolutely. And then the third A for me would be to assure. I would go and tell them, look, I did not know, but
Mm.
thank you for explaining. I now stand corrected. And just having that philosophy of I don't know, I ask, and I would like to acknowledge and assure you that I'd correct has helped me in these conversations. And I've had people come to my audio events and, you know, co-host with me, hold this extremely important conversations. I don't think anybody in New Zealand is doing them on LinkedIn right now.
Or anywhere in the world with those interesting conversations. Otherwise, I wouldn't be joining you at very, very early hours in the morning, because
Thank you so much, Tina.
yeah, because you do it in a way that that makes us all feel that we belong, no matter the differences, the dialects, how we look, our abilities, our age. So all of that makes this conversation. Yeah, if you miss them, you can find them in an article version or on Moumita's LinkedIn profile.
Thank
Let us see the comments that have come in from. Oh, we have Jeff Young uh, here. 8 p.m. in Brussels, 8 a.m. in Auckland. What a global event. Yes. So
you.
we are all in the circle of conversation. Thank you so much for joining us, teacher. And we have Annette joining us. Uh, Hi, lovely ladies.
Yeah.
Also, um, part of Ladies of LinkedIn, Annette from New York. So thank you very much, Annette. It was actually Moumita who helped me to do the new overlay. It's not by coincidence that she is a marketeer. And okay, yeah, live long and prosper. We also have my friend Veronica Pauna joining us from Brussels. So it's so great to see the comments. It's Let me see. Volunteering. Jeff has always good points.
Yeah,
Variety, which helps us gain more diverse experience.
absolutely. Yeah.
And I think your experience is very different. Um how you, instead of doing the normal voluntary work where we only help with physical labor, you really help with the marketing and strategy and communication and everything that you had in your toolbox. That was
Yeah.
amazing. And then you were also the face of so tell about that one.
Yes, true. So I volunteer for Volunteer Service Abroad from New
Hmm.
Zealand, and that is this organization, sends out people from New Zealand to various Pacific Island countries, like Samoa, like Fiji,
Yeah.
like Tonga, and they are sent with. Is that your dog? Tiina?
Let me see what happened with the light.
All right. Uh,
This is a
so
live event. That's why things are called live.
and it's absolutely all right because we have connected two ends of the world, right? So this
Yes.
kind of thing can happen once in a while. So yeah, so I'll just quickly go back to my volunteering experience. So I, during COVID, no one could travel to different countries, so they started the
Yeah.
concept of e-volunteering, and I joined in. I had to apply. That was a very rigorous interview process as well. Let me tell you, Tina. I mean, one of the hardest interview processes VSA has, but it was splendid. So I started working with this Samoa Women Association of Growers. These women who are farmers, who are growers, I help them with their social media skills and presentation and business pitch writing skills. So yes, volunteering for me is an extension of what I do in my day job.
Hmm.
So it also expands my horizon, and it also adds up to my skills, to my functional skills. So yes, I have been doing it for the past 2 years now, nearly. Just e-volunteering and helping these women out, and besides some of the other things that I do for volunteering. And VSA used me as one of their faces to recruit other volunteers and put me up on a billboard somewhere. Yeah.
Yes, and it was so great to see you because you're always on the behind the camera creating all the commercials and all the marketing, and now you were there, the face. So it was really amazing to see that journey.
Yeah,
And
true. I go on.
yeah, yeah, go on.
No, I was just saying that funny you bring that up. I used to tell people that I have done millions of advertising campaigns,
Yes.
but I've never been the face of one advertising campaign. But yeah, with volunteering, I got an opportunity to do that as well.
Exactly. And how many marketeers have that experience? Probably they finish their career without ever being the model or the face for for the for the campaigns. Yeah. And we have Gillian joining us from Las Vegas. Uh, Hi, Gillian. Thank you so much for joining us. let me see. I had other questions that I wanted to ask you.
Mhm.
Um, we already touched um, a little bit, but really concretely, what can we do as individuals, but also organizations to make our spaces in life and on social media more inclusive? And I think you have heard many great tips during the
Yeah,
conversations. Yeah.
yeah. There's this often this thing about culture fit.
Yes.
When so these are all barriers to entry. One
Yeah.
barrier to entry is having no local experience. Another barrier to entry is you're not culturally fit for an organization. So that is something that I'd like to speak to. Do we culture fit or do we culture add? If you wanted
Mm,
clones for your organization of who you are, then how different is it going to be? How do you expect to bring in, different experiences, different perspectives to an organization? And what you talk about not being culturally fit, those nuances can be taught. We can learn, we can pick up,
yeah.
right? I picked up a lot. I had to like meet midway as well. I had to change my perspective. For example, in India, we do photographs on CVs. Here in New Zealand, we don't do photographs on CVs. So these are things very local, nuances very local to a place, and we pick all that up. It's a very common thing, for example, to go out for a drink in the evening on a Thursday
Mhm.
in New Zealand. We couldn't imagine doing that in India because in the roles that I had, because we wouldn't get off, before 6:37, and then it would be very late, and then coming back the following day on a Friday to work would be a problem. But you get used to things like these, and culture is something that the more you embrace, the more you delve into it, the more you pick up. And so I think what people can do is be more observant, be more open, embrace, not feel entitled. Okay, I did this in my home country, so I expect this here. As from individuals, we would want that not to happen, and also from organizations to open up and embrace people from different cultures. And when you ask me that question, I think I'm just talking about my lived experience of
Mhm.
racial inequality right now, not the other intersectionalities or minorities that we discussed earlier. So yeah, and for organizations these days, just to be more open, more show more empathy, um,
Yeah.
listen, and then make small changes, I guess.
Yeah, and I think what you said is really, if you're a fit or if you're a complementary, if you're looking to grow your business globally, you can't have copy paste of your neighbor. So you
Yeah,
really need to embrace the differences if you
yeah,
want the global aspect.
yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's a two-way street as well. You have to be open-minded and get there.
Yeah, so
So
true.
I wanna just say hello to Michelle J. Raymond, who just released her second book,
Yeah.
Michelle and Michelle. So congratulations and well done. And I want to ask you of finishing words, um, how we could do better
Um,
in diversity and belonging.
so, I was talking earlier about my 3A strategy, just to ask, that would be my, from my lived experiences, that would be the first thing to do. If you don't know, you ask. Small things, like if you if you think you cannot say a person's name correct,
Mm,
ask that person how you would want me to pronounce your name. Simple things like that. For a person with disability, ask if they need help. Don't offer help. Doing simple things, and just be open to learn. What you shared earlier with Brené Brown's quote, I'm going to take that to with me to uh, for a very long time, as long as I don't get these memory loss diseases. But then that's so important, just to know that it's okay to ask and to make mistakes.
exactly. I never mind if people ask me because I have a difficult name how to pronounce it. I'm always happy if somebody at least tries to make the effort. I know it's difficult, but it's that what counts and makes the connection.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy that we are connected through LinkedIn, and I encourage everyone to reach out to Moumita and read the articles and learn more about it, and start conversations.
Thank you
Is
so much, Tina.
Thank you so much, and I wish you a great Wednesday at work, and for us, it's a good night now.
Yes, thank you for having me, and hello and goodbye to everyone who joined in.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.